used to go up to the hotel rooms. And at one point, I think it was like 12 stories, and they took it down to like 4 or 5 stories because it was not safe anymore. So in the 60s, they made it a shorter building. I was in there, and this would happen so many times towards the end. I'd be in there working, and I'd hear footsteps going up the main staircase. And I knew nobody could be in there but me because I double locked the doors from the inside. So even, the owners couldn't get in. Nobody could get in unless I let them in. But I'd run up to the staircase and run all the way upstairs. Nobody there. And then it started getting where instead of one footstep going up, from like one person, it was multiple people going up. You'd hear. Then all of a sudden it started getting muffled talking. Like you hear men and women talking and laughing going up the stairs. When that happened, I went up to the owners and I said, you know what? I really like working here, but you know what? Here's my notice.
Yeah. I can understand that.
Well, then, I did a little research and found out at one point there was a prostitute. It was murdered up in one of the rooms, and the guy cut her up in pieces and put her in a trunk.
God.
And I don't know if the spirits from that is going around or what, but it's funny. Back here, maybe about 10 months ago, I went down to the building because photography is not like it used to be. So the business is no longer there. Now it's an insurance company, a big one. And I went up there and I walked in and I said, I worked here for 16 years. I just got a question to ask you. And they go, what? I said, does anything ever strange happen here? And the receptionist's face turned bright red, and she goes, this place is haunted.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So that's my only encounter with, ghosts and stuff like that. I mean, before that, I didn't believe they existed. Now I kind of funny feeling, they're walking among us and, sharing our lives.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I've been, quote, believed in ghosts, but more in this, it's fun and spooky. But I didn't, I think, down my deep core believe in it until stuff started happening to us as the crew. Because, when we started our series, which is called The Haunted Bay, we were just going to be flies on the wall. We're documentary filmmakers. We're going to follow ghost hunters and psychic mediums and see what they do. And especially one of my first cameramen who's not working with us anymore, he was completely skeptical and said this was all a bunch of, baloney and stupid and whatever stuff happened to him on our second shoot. And then gradually me and my other cameramen started having experiences, and so far there's only one guy on my team who has not yet. Maybe, I don't know, but yeah, it changes your whole perspective of how things are.
What is the worst thing or the most strangest thing it happened to you personally while you were doing this?
Oh, personally, yeah. Okay. So there's this old theater in Chinatown, San Francisco, and it was opened in 1925. It was originally built for the Chinese immigrants to watch the Chinese opera in. And it had been shut down for a while and reopened as more of a cabaret musical type of venue. And so I went, actually not to ghost hunt, I went to watch my friend perform. She's an actress and she's an actress. And I was ushering there, volunteering, and I went down to the ladies' restroom. And when I was down there, I was suddenly thinking, oh my God, I think I had a feeling there's a female spirit down there. And there's a vanity mirror in the corner with a chair, and I just thought to myself, wait, she likes to sit in that chair and stare at herself in the mirror. And so I never do this, but for some reason I went and sat down on that chair and just stared into the mirror. And then I, was thinking, well, what am I doing? So I snapped out of it, and I went back upstairs. This is like an afternoon, I'm not thinking about spooky things or anything. But I go upstairs and I talk to the bartender and I didn't tell the bartender what I sensed, but I asked her, hey, do you guys have ghost stories here? And she said, yeah, my friend went downstairs to the bathroom, to the women's bathroom. She came up and said, there's a female spirit down there.
Oh, wow.
So I went home. I spoke to the manager first of all, and I was like, I filmed these. Can we come in here and do an investigation possibly? And he said, yes, yeah. And then when I got home, I got a flood of images in my head. And this does not happen usually. I got images of this Asian woman. She's tall with long hair, white dress, and she had gone mad and insane, lost her mind. I had a feeling she was horribly abused, perhaps even, she was a victim of sex trafficking, and she committed suicide. And these were just feelings, And so we got APR there, and I didn't tell them my impressions because we don't want to, influence anybody. So we're there, and then one of the investigators suddenly yells, "Can I swear on this program, or can I not?"
No, we're not on the. Well, you can kind of swear, not big time though, but a little. Go ahead.
Well, I'll just say he said the S word, but he's like, "Oh crap."
you mean the shit word? Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
You can say that.
I can say that. He's like, "Oh shit," and we could hear him on the stage going, "Oh shit," and we run and we're like, "What?" And he's like, "I just saw this lady in white shit float across the doorway," and my jaw dropped because he said lady in white, and this is the image that I got, and it was right at the entrance of the women's bathroom where he saw this woman figure just walk past. And so like that happened, and my cameraman saw her, and you'll see in the video, I don't want to give everything away, but it's in our Great Star Theater video. My cameraman saw her, and then we go back on another occasion with psychic medium June Ahern. I think she's been on your show perhaps, but so again, we didn't tell her anything, and she picks up on several spirits, and I specifically made sure I didn't tell her anything about the women's bathroom. So we take her down there, and she's like, "Oh my God, there's a woman. She's crying down here. She's crying." And she mentioned, I think there was a suicide or something like that, and it kind of matched, what I felt. So we finished this film shoot. There's 2 parts, so we finished both with some corroboration that my impressions may have been real, and we showed it at the theater. It was an amazing night. One of my cameramen is a filmmaker, and he was showing his horror movie Vampiraya in that theater. But before that, we gave a little surprise and said, "Hey, we actually did a ghost investigation here," and we showed it to the audience. And so things started happening to people in the theater.
Oh,
and some people came up to me and said they felt something in the women's bathroom, before they saw our documentary.
Now, I'm going to say, when I had her on my show, many months ago, and she was talking about that bathroom. She also said it had a weird smell, if I remember right, too. It was. Yeah, did you notice that too?
Well, bathrooms have weird smells.
Well, it was not like what a normal, like a bathroom would smell. She said it kind of had, I can't remember what she said, but it was kind of a weird type of smell. It didn't jive with being what a bathroom was. But she was mentioning, too, what you just mentioned. So, I mean, that backs up your story, what your cameraman and what you've seen.
There's a lot more. This is a fairly long story, but it's all...
Go ahead. We got time. Go ahead.
Okay. So we showed it at the theater, and a couple of people came up to me after and said, one person said, "I felt some stabbing pain in my back, like someone was stabbing me." And then another girl said she felt a stabbing pain in her back while walking down the stairs to the bathroom, so she didn't want to come back. And then my friend said she had this feeling like there was someone in the last stall with her. And that happens to be where my cameraman saw her. And she also said she felt like this need to look and stare into the mirror like I had.
Oh, wow.
And this story is just amazing because things keep happening and happening even after we film. Okay, so after that night, okay, well, let me back up. We show the documentary. We have a Q&A session. We're all standing on stage. answering questions of the audience. Everyone's excited. And suddenly the guy who saw the woman who said, hey, I saw a woman in white shit, that investigator suddenly looked up and pointed at the balcony, said somebody just walked across the balcony while we're answering the audience. And then the lights were flickering.
Oh, wow.
And it was, yeah, I mean, of course we can't say for sure the lights weren't some technical issue, but it was just all of it happening at once was interesting. And then 2 weeks, I believe it was 2 weeks later, we thought we were finished with the Great Star. It was a great event and great documentary. I was home alone. No, my boyfriend was asleep in the bedroom. And I was sitting at my dining room table meditating. And I was not thinking about anything ghost-related or anything. I was meditating, and my back was to the opening of my kitchen. And suddenly I felt like that woman walked through the doorway and was standing right behind me.
You're kidding. The same woman you saw in the mirror.
Yes. And oh my God.
That can happen. Talking to different psychics and mediums and stuff, that depending on if you get involved in the situation, they can follow you home.
Yeah. And that's never happened to me before. And all the hairs on the back of my neck, arms stood up, and I jumped out of my chair, and I called my cameraman, who's the skeptic, or more of a skeptic, and I said, hey, I think she's here. Oh my God, I was actually pretty scared because it's never happened before. And he said, are you sure it's not all in your head? And I was like, well, I don't know, it could be, but I'm just telling you what I feel right now. So, so he said, turn on music, whatever, and I don't know why he thought that would help. But I turned on music, and I sat down. I went to the living room, and I sat down on my couch, my futon in the living room, and then I felt her coming across the room towards me with her hands stretched out,
Ooh.
wanting to touch me. And I actually backed up on the couch and was speaking out loud and say, hey, no, don't touch me. And I was like, I got up from the couch and I was like, you can't be here. You can't be here. You go away. I can't help you, And so this went on for 2 hours. It was started around 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. And after 1 a.m., I felt like she was gone. Oh. And so I calmed down and I went to bed. And I thought, the next day I was like, there's no way I could know whether this was my imagination, if I was just spooking myself, or if it really was something. But then the friend who went to see that documentary in the theater, who did not know about this experience that I had in my house, she texted me. And she said, last night when I went to use the bathroom in the middle of the night, she usually goes to the bathroom around 2 or 3 a.m., she says, I felt like that female spirit from that theater was in my house. And she said, and I ran out of the bathroom and ran to my bed and, was scared and, covered myself in my blanket. And she said, I looked back in the bathroom. I swore I turned the light off and it was back on. And when I saw this text from her, I actually literally, dropped my phone. Because it felt like she had come to my house, and when I shooed her away, she jumped to my friend's house.
Wow. What I'm thinking too is, since you originally got the image off when you stared deep into that mirror in that, restroom, that, have you checked your mirrors at all in your place? Because a good friend of mine, James, who's a medium, we were talking about this, a couple months ago on the show. Sometimes these spirits can get into your mirror and kind of do hauntings that way.
I haven't experienced personally anything with my mirrors. I haven't even thought about that. But the story even continues after this.
Well, go ahead.
So I shooed her away, and a while after that, I made a ghost tour because I needed to raise funds to pay. I wanted to be able to cover our costs of making these videos because we don't make any money off of them. So I picked 3 locations to take people in and let them try their hand at ghost hunting. And so one of the locations was the theater. And I went in, and on one of the tours, June came with her friend. And her friend